Hey guys, Jacob and Greg here at ePoolSupply. Today we're going to install a A&A QuikBrite light. We're going to show you guys pretty much this video will work for most videos on how to pull a new pool light with the water full. So we're going to replace this old Hayward light down here and install a brand new light and get things rolling, so stay tuned. And we are back. So, A&A QuikBrite light. Okay, so first things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this old pool light out of here. We're just gonna pop it up on the deck, and then we're gonna start wiring everything with our string back to the panel, and then we're gonna start pulling everything through. And we're gonna walk you guys through step by step. So first step, let's get this light on top of the deck to make sure we can get it accessible. So my main man Greg here is gonna do this for me because I don't get this wet. So.
Can you shade my arms, make it look darker than the farmer's tan going on?
So just a Phillips screwdriver, it's all you need. Most lights are in with a Phillips screwdriver. Older lights sometimes will have a light wedge, so it just might be a little longer of a screw. But you just unscrew it, one screw comes out, and the cord should be long enough to sit on top of the deck. So as you can see here, this is the old school Hayward color changer. So what it does is this thing actually has a light, and it also has a light motor. So actually the motor turns to change colors. So we've come a long way since then. Everything's LED driven now, and just to show you in perspective, this light is relatively thin compared to this old one. So it's a little bit of a difference. It's really teeny. So pretty cool. So yeah, let's go back to the equipment, get some string pulled through, and then we'll start pulling this light through. All right guys, so the first thing we want to do when we're doing the pool light and messing with the wiring is turn off the breakers. So find your breaker panel, find the old breaker that says pool light, turn it off. Let's not stop there though. I like to turn off all the equipment because we're gonna be playing with the electrical panel itself, which has all the power going into it for all the pumps and everything. So I'm gonna turn off the pool filter pump as well as the water feature pump. So now I have zero power going back to over where my pool equipment is. So now that those are off, close this up, childproof it, and now let's go work on this pool light. All right guys, so we got our string, and all we're gonna do is tie on to one of these wires here. Make it real tight, electrical tape it if you have to. You do not want this thing to come off in the middle of the light conduit, strictly because then you're gonna have to get a fish tape and fish it all the way back through, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm gonna tie this thing on, and then Greg will be on the other side pulling out the pool light while I'm feeding the string in to make sure it does not get any tangles or anything like that. So let me make a nice, good, tight little knot. Test it. And for you guys, I'll put a little electrical tape on there. You guys might get a sneak peek of one of the boys that works for us named Hunter. He's pretty famous, so you might see him pull a pool light as well. So, all right, so I got my string on. Now I need you guys to cut over to Greg while he pulls. I'm gonna be pushing this cord down, so pretty sweet. So look, see how this cord is like permanently discombobulated? So like if I find a different piece that's not swollen, which is way down here, it's hard for you guys to see, but these are actually two different thicknesses. Like this one over here is way thicker than it is inside the actual where the conduit was. And it's also like permanent bends and everything else like that. So that's why it was hard to pull through. But my main man Hunter here just kind of got after it. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of strong. I mean, I've seen bigger, like me, of course, but yeah. So let's tie on the new pool light, the cord, because we don't have to actually hook the new light up yet, and we're gonna pull that through. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So we're back. Let's take this out of the box. So you got your light. It's got a quick disconnect right here, so you don't actually have to hook the light up until you're ready to install the light, which is kind of cool. So we can take the light, put it off to the side. Little spacer ring for nice packaging. lengths, different sizes, pretty cool stuff. And I'm pretty sure we got links below too that you might be able to buy one for yourself. So let's take a look at the cord sizes so I can show you how LED technology, especially 12 volt, is compared. It's pretty crazy. So it's almost half the size. So this one should pull pretty smoothly. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna walk this cord out completely flat. So that way there's no curls going into the wall. You want this thing completely flat when you guys pull it through. So let's walk it out. So what we're gonna do now, strip back some of this, tie it onto our string, pull it back the other way. So make sure you didn't cut the copper off any of the wires. Take your best wire, tie a knot. Always test your knots to make sure, again, we don't want this thing to fall off in the middle of the conduit that's underground. So again, can't stress enough too, use the high strength pull string. Do not just tie this light onto the old light. It's not the proper way to do it. So all those other YouTube videos you're seeing out there are super incorrect. Watch ours, we do things the right way. Shout out to Kyle, he's the man behind the camera today. Alright, so now I got everything taped to the string. My knot's done. Give it a good pull, make sure it doesn't come apart. So now that I feel confident about that, Greg's gonna come back in here, feed this through the hole while I pull it on the other side.
Want to leave just enough to get this light back onto the surface here. And like we were explaining, this has got a quick disconnect, so once you pull this cord, you never have to pull another cord through this niche. This is an 80-foot plus run, so we don't want to do it again. So what's nice is we got that disconnect. The light just screws into the back here because it's low voltage. You don't have to worry about any kind of electrical issues there. And then if you ever need a new light, this light burns out. Super long lifetime on these because it's LED, but all you gotta do, pull it out, put a new one on, you're never running a new cord. So pretty neat new product.
All right guys, so this is an A&A QuikBrite light. So this is a 12 volt light. So what we have to make sure we install is a transformer. So we actually have a Pentair PS100 transformer. It's a 100-watt transformer. This is gonna perfectly power this pool light. So we're gonna have to mount a transformer here, run the electrical, and then run this new cord into the transformer because we want 12 volts feeding this light, not 120 volts. If you hook up 120 volts like the last light was, it's gonna blow that light immediately. So first things first, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut this cord, leave it like probably a few feet long, depending on where I have to mount this transformer. That way we can run it all the way into the transformer. And then I'm gonna button up back here. I wanna get all my electrical hooked back in here, and then I'll start the transformer. So first things first, get a good amount of cord. Cut it. So that's a good amount of cord. I feel comfortable with that. So now what I'm gonna do is thread all my safety cautioners back on. Guys, so I've got my cord through. I'm gonna put my time clock back in there just to keep it from hanging, and then we're gonna start mounting the transformer and get this thing wired up. Perfect. So with these 12-volt lights, you just want to make sure you don't have any other high voltage wire just like hanging on top of it or going in parallel with it. You can have wire or electricity going across from it, but interference usually only happens in parallel, not perpendicular. So something to keep in the back of your mind. All right, so I got to get some more parts and we're going to mount this thing. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount this transformer. Let's take it out of the box, see what it looks like inside. Box in a box. That's weird. All right, cool. So let's take it out of the other box. It's like a double unboxing video. All right, so instrucciones. That's instructions in Spanish. Take the cardboard out. Cardboard out. These things are relatively heavy. So let's pull it out. So, transformer. Let's take off our set screw right here in the front. There's a lot of advertising here that says, hey, disconnect electric or else you'll die. So you should probably turn off the electric or else you'll die. But again, I think this is like the 5th time I'm telling you, turn the breakers off. Whenever you're touching electric, turn the breakers off. So this is my little panel, my wiring diagrams on the back of here on how to wire it, but that's why you guys have me. Lucky you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount my transformer about right here, maybe about right here, so that way I can get my conduit from here and here and still be able to open this door nice and easy. So, all right. It's got a couple different mounting spots, so I'm going to mount the one screw, leave it hanging, level it, then mount the one on the bottom, and then, yeah, go from there. I'm probably going to use my universal anchors. These are supposed to work on stucco, cinder block, drywall, pretty much everything, so let's hope these work. Just got them from a local hardware store. This transformer does not come with mounting hardware, so you're kind of on your own when it comes to that. So I'm gonna go right here. Always make a nice clean hole. So that way your anchor goes in pretty snug. Okay, now the actual screw for the anchor, be gentle with it. What happens with anchors, so they're nice and smooth, they have ribs on the sides when they go in, and then they kind of separate and open up inside the wall, and that's what kind of grabs it. So there's a breaking point of when you get in there. You might feel a little click of when it actually separates, and then you're in the clear. These ones might just be slow expanding, because I do not feel a click, but I can tell you right now, it's getting really hard to screw it in there, so I know it's working. So what I want to do now is take my transformer, hang it on that first one, see how that is? Take your level, make sure you level everything out. what I want to do is mark down below where I want to drill my second hole. So now I can take off my transformer. I've got my nice little dealio right there to drill my hole. Lost it. Where'd I put it? Right there. Man, it's almost like somebody behind me shining a light on it. Nice clean hole. Got my anchor. Put it in there. It's hard to put in, it's a good thing. Use the screw tip that it came with, and then you just kind of hammer it in. Also, please use a level. Make your stuff look pretty. You don't want to have stuff crooked hanging off the side of your house. That's real kind of Sanford and Son. So let's make sure it's all nice and pretty. So now that this is in, we got to make sure you hang the top one up, and now the bottom one will thread in, just like so. Also, we can tighten the top completely. So again, the whole reason behind this, we have a 12-volt light. 12 volt means low voltage. This light bulb will literally run on the same transformer that runs landscape lighting, but it'll usually overload the landscape lighting if you don't have your load calcs done properly on it. So I mean, you can get like a 900 watt transformer for your landscape lighting or whatever and run it all off the same thing if you want to. But we just got a simple 100 watt transformer, and that's why we're gonna run everything off this guy, and that way everything will still work on a light switch for the pool. So what we're gonna do now is the bottom of this panel has holes, so what I want to do is actually break a hole out so I can run my, I'm going to break 2 holes out. I'm going to break one so I can run my conduit up here, and then the other one so I can run this light wire on the outside of my conduit. So this is all going to be exposed outside. I'm going to zip tie it, make it look all pretty. Yeah, we're going to move on from there. A lot of wires. All right. This kind of gets loud. Done. Way easy. Now, the one next to it. You don't really have to break it up all the way because I just want to feed my light through. So what I'm going to do now, yellow. So what I'm going to do now, oh man, didn't make it open enough. Let's bend it open a little bit more. That'll fit through. 12 volts great to work with because it's extremely low voltage. It's almost like when you lick the bottom of those batteries when you're a kid, you know, it doesn't hurt you that bad. So it's kind of the same idea. That's why if you notice on low voltage wiring, there's no ground. So medical code doesn't require a ground for low voltage wiring. They are definitely requiring a ground to go from here to here with the 120 volt, but from here to there for the 12 volt, not necessary. So let's read what we got going on here. So in the back of here, the black and the white are gonna be my power in. So my power right here, my power that goes to the light is gonna go, this is my power into the transformer. So this is my 120 volts going here. High voltage and your neutral. And then your low voltage over here, you've got orange is your common, so this is definitely gonna get L wire. because there's 2 wires in this cable, and again, we're gonna do a close-up when I do wire this thing. And brown is gonna be my 12 volt, yellow is gonna be 13, and blue is gonna be 14. So the rule with LEDs is the higher volts that you go, the brighter the light's gonna be. Volts go up, amps go down. So I like to go about 13 volts on these things. It's kind of a good middle of the road. And Pentair will even tell you the same thing, that put it on a higher voltage will be a brighter light. So pretty cool little trick that they have. So yeah, I'm gonna get a conduit going from here to there, and then we're gonna start wiring this thing up. All right guys, so I got some high voltage wire here. I use 12 gauge wire. I've got a hot, a ground, and a neutral, and I've got my conduit. 2 connectors to go from the transformer to the panel. So what I'm gonna do first is feed the wires through. Feed the wires through. Now hook up our connectors. All right guys, so I got my connectors. I got a 90 over here, and I'm gonna put it straight on this side to make my conduit work. So I'm gonna thread this in here again for the 1200th time. Make sure your power's off. Don't let anybody else turn your power off besides you. Don't trust anybody on that. So you want to tighten up these. Where'd my screwdriver go? Right here. These connectors, these 1/2-inch conduit connectors, come with little nuts on them to tighten them in the panel. These panels, this is an intermatic panel, pretty old school actually. They actually come with little pre-notched things that you saw me break out of there already. So they're meant to actually slide into the new ones. Loosen that up, and then feed that on there. Always give yourself a little bit of extra wire to play with, because you don't want to be in a jam. This is a very tight space to work in. So I've got a good amount of wire to play with on this side. Now I'm gonna run my conduit up over here into that side. So again, take the knob, the conduit connector. Wow, that's cool. All right. Again, we got my black and my white on the left side. That's my power coming in. This is my high voltage. So that's where my high voltage wires are going to thread into. I want to trim a little bit more off. I want it to be relatively tight, so I'm going to go that right there. Slides up in. Looks pretty good. Now you're just gonna strip back all your wires. So again, you guys at home, feel free to use a pair of wire strippers. I'll do it for this video. Usually you see me use the pair of dikes, but I won't for you guys in this one. Trim off your wires. This is 12 gauge wire, so the nice part, you can find a little 12 mark on wire strippers, and it creates a nice clean cut of copper. Don't over extend your copper. So like obviously if I'm like this, just too much copper. You want to be just enough to fit inside that wire nut. Okay, so white to white, which is neutral. So these actually require a little bit of stripping as well. Now let's go a little bit bigger side. like this, you want to turn it. Don't use braided for your guys' power. It's never recommended to use braided on high voltage. I don't know why the manufacturer does that in the transformers. So match them up, put a wire nut on. This transformer is going to serve as a dual purpose, so it's a J-box as well as a transformer. So it's not just a little transformer brick, obviously. So when we're done wiring this stuff up, you can just shove your wires into these J-box holes. Keep it all nice and weatherproof. So hot to hot, neutral to neutral. And then I got my green ground that goes to my ground bus bar right here. Let's pretend like my screwdriver is going to fit in there. Probably not. So you can pick any of these screws. Just feed it on there, tighten it down. That right there is how we wire the high voltage side of the transformer. So again, the low voltage side, what I want to see is 13 volts, which is our yellow and our orange. So I'm going to feed this through here, and I'm going to cut back. Don't need all of this now, so I can cut back and give myself some workability. Be very careful when cutting the jacket. You don't want to cut too far because it'll cut into the wire itself. And you got to keep cutting back, keep cutting back. Hopefully you have enough wire to spare. So just be very careful, take your time. And then it'll thread off. So very confusing. These are white and black. Do not hook these white and black up to the transformers white and black. So these are your low voltage. Low voltage does not matter when it comes to these yellow and orange. It doesn't matter which one goes where. Just pick a wire and stick it on there. So, like I said, promised I'd use these wire strippers for you. So the science behind this, 120 volt goes in. You have this transformer. It dumbs down the power, spits out 12. 120 in, 12 out. So now again, wire nuts. And also, as you can see, my light wire is exposed. It's perfectly fine. It's 12 volt. It's just like landscape lighting. So it does not matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zip tie it to the actual light conduit. The high voltage going in there so it looks clean when I'm done. Troy, you got zip ties?
Mm-hmm.
So now that that's all in there, I'm going to shove all this back in this little hole. And this is all accessible, but that's why I'm going to zip tie it so someone can't yank it out. So what I'm going to do now, I got my cover box, put it on there, make everything nice and tight. Factory screw set that it came with. Tighten this thing up. So now what I'm going to do is loosen my electrical tape on this side. You can cut it off if you want to, but I want to have the extra wire to play with. Thank you, sir. So back to this. So let me zip tie these real quick. So tight into here. Cool. So, coming out of my GFI are these two guys. Back side of GFI is going to say line and load. So, line is the power coming into the GFI, and load is the power going out of the GFI. So these two wires are coming out. So obviously it's going to be, these are the two wires that are GFI protected. So what I want to do is my neutral wire can immediately just get wire nutted there if this is normal application. And then your high voltage, you would have a switch. So you'd have the one of these legs going to the back of the switch, while the other, the one coming from the transformer, is going to go to the other side of the switch. And that's how you would normally turn your pool light on and off. This is a different application. So this is an X10 switch that we have here. So we're going to wire this X10 switch up. So what we're going to do, this one's, X10's pretty old. They actually stopped making it, I want to say about 5-6 years ago. But I'm hoping all of this still works. So what I'm going to do is all my whites on this application are going to get wire nutted together. Just so you know, this is an old X10 controller. So it's kind of a little wireless remote that you can use inside the house, turn things on and off. Pretty neat. Now they have all different types of systems. We really recommend like IntelliConnect or something like that, because obviously variable speed pumps are a big thing these days. That way you can control your variable speed pump, turn your lights on and off. Pretty cool stuff. And it's just a simple automation controller. Right. So my whites are connected, and then now my black is my power coming in. Orange is my power coming out. Is my tackle box laying around here somewhere? Can you grab me one more wire nut? I don't like these red ones. Oh, let me do this. Thank you. Thank my assistant for handing me a nice wire nut. So I got my blue power coming out to the transformer. So realistically what's going to happen is everything is going to turn on and off. So it's not just, you're not triggering the actual low voltage side, you're actually turning on and off the transformer every single time. So it's one of two ways to do it, and this is the way that we're going to do it now. So, and then my green here is going to go to my green bus bar on the bottom of this panel. So let me loosen up one of the screws, and just like this transformer had, this panel has a big green bus bar on the bottom. So, you just fold your wires back in here, make everything fit nice and pretty. Let's put my connector on, or my cover, I should say. This thing I think just feeds in like this. Probably not put the wires in front. Alright, we're gonna put that thing on after. So let's just feed all this stuff back in. Give me 2 screws to tighten this thing up with. Perfect. All right, guys, we're all wired up. So let's turn this pool light on, and we're all good to go.
All right, we got the light installed. Everything is wired up. We actually installed the clapper too while we were back there. So if I hit this loud enough, let's see here. there you go. I don't know if you can see that light coming on there, but we got a blue light. Just kidding about the clapper. I got the guy back there with the electronic control to turn it on and off. But light's working good. We're gonna get a night shot for you guys. Homeowner's gonna take a picture tonight. It's gonna look beautiful, and maybe we'll get that up here. But thanks for watching, you guys. Make sure to click, comment, subscribe, everything to our YouTube channel. We got tons of new videos coming out.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Subscribe today if you haven't subscribed. Check out the links below, and we got a lot more content coming your way. Thank you.